Welcome to District Command Central, your go-to source for the latest news and updates on the Washington Commanders. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you never miss a play. The Washington Commanders have been living in a whirlwind of speculation for months, as the Terry McLaurin contract saga became one of the most talked-about storylines in the NFL offseason. Fans sat glued to updates, rumors, and insider whispers, worried that their beloved number one receiver might walk away from the team he had carried with grit and consistency since arriving in Washington. Every week that passed without a resolution added to the tension, fueling radio debates, Twitter wars, and countless late-night conversations among anxious supporters. Finally, when the news broke that McLaurin had signed a 3-year, $96 million extension with a staggering $30 million signing bonus, the collective exhale across the fanbase was almost audible. The deal didn't just represent security for McLaurin. It was a symbolic moment for the franchise, signaling stability, ambition, and a renewed belief that the Commanders could start building a contender around their offensive cornerstone. For Magic Johnson, minority stakeholder in the Commanders' ownership group, the relief quickly turned into joy. The NBA legend and business mogul took to social media to celebrate the extension, and his excitement mirrored that of every Commanders supporter. His words carried more than just congratulatory tones. They reflected a vision of McLaurin not only as a football star, but as a community leader and cultural figure within the DMV area. Johnson praised the leadership of Josh Harris and general manager Adam Peters for securing the deal, applauded McLaurin's character, and emphasized how essential this signing was for both the locker room and the fan base. Coming from a sports icon who knows the value of superstar loyalty, his reaction carried weight. Magic understands the importance of having a franchise face who represents excellence, consistency, and connection. His endorsement didn't just validate the move. It amplified the sense of optimism that the Commanders can finally move past off-field drama and refocus on winning. What makes this entire saga fascinating is how close it came to unraveling in a way that could have haunted Washington for years. McLaurin had openly expressed his frustration, signaling that he felt underappreciated and even disrespected by the slow pace of negotiations. His camp floated trade possibilities, his absence from voluntary workouts was noted, and for a period of time, the stalemate felt dangerously close to becoming irreversible. Adam Peters, however, stood firm. The general manager, still early in his tenure, was determined not to mortgage the franchise's long-term flexibility, and his poker-faced negotiating style kept both sides on edge. Fans began to worry that his hardline stance might backfire, potentially alienating the team's most reliable weapon. Yet in hindsight, Peters' discipline proved calculated. By waiting out the standoff and keeping negotiations under control, he managed to strike a deal that balances financial reward for McLaurin with structural protection for the team's future. That balance may define Washington's next era. The emotions surrounding this resolution highlight just how integral McLaurin has become to the identity of the Commanders. Drafted in the 3rd round, he quickly rose from overlooked prospect to indispensable leader, earning respect through production, professionalism, and humility. Despite quarterback instability, coaching changes, and organizational chaos, McLaurin consistently delivered 1,000-yard seasons, explosive plays, and quiet leadership behind the scenes. To the fans, losing him would have felt like another betrayal, a continuation of the dysfunction that has plagued Washington football for decades. Instead, his extension feels like a turning point, a rare moment where the franchise got it right. On sports talk shows, fans voice gratitude. On social media, celebratory memes and highlight reels flooded timelines. There was no bitterness about the price tag, no grumbling about cap space. For once, everyone seemed unified, proud, and excited, clinging to the belief that with McLaurin secured, bigger and better things are possible. Magic Johnson's comments also shed light on how this deal transcends the field. He spoke about McLaurin's impact on the DMV community, praising his charitable efforts, mentorship, and role model presence for young fans. This matters in Washington, where the franchise has struggled for years to rebuild its reputation after controversies, scandals, and ownership drama tarnished its image. McLaurin, with his character and consistency, represents the type of player who can lead cultural change from the inside out. By locking him down, the The Commanders not only kept a football asset, they preserved a brand ambassador and civic leader. Johnson, who has built his post-basketball legacy on community investment and business leadership, recognizes the importance of having stars who connect authentically with fans. His words weren't just about touchdowns and yardage. They were about trust, credibility, and identity. In that sense, McLaurin's extension may ripple far beyond the sidelines, shaping how Washington rebuilds its relationship with its loyal but long-suffering supporters. Of course, the road to this point wasn't smooth. Along the way, there were bruised egos, tense negotiations, and visible cracks in the facade of team unity. Reports surfaced that McLaurin had grown tired of what he perceived as organizational neglect, and whispers suggested that his patience was wearing thin. Even head coach Dan Quinn, usually calm and composed, showed rare signs of strain when pressed by reporters about the impasse. For fans, those weeks felt like walking a tightrope, with the future of the franchise's offensive core hanging in the balance. Some feared another Kirk Cousins situation, an elite player leaving after years of mismanagement. Instead, by weathering the storm and finally reaching an agreement, Washington managed to avoid disaster. Still, the memories of that near collapse remain fresh, serving as a reminder that stability cannot be taken for granted. Winning over players and fans alike requires not just contracts, but consistent respect and alignment. Now that the deal is done, the conversation shifts from boardroom negotiations to football realities. McLaurin is expected to anchor an offense looking for a breakthrough under Quinn's leadership and Peters' roster-building strategy. With a new quarterback under center and an offensive line still taking shape, McLaurin's presence as a reliable, game-changing receiver will be crucial in giving Washington stability on the field. His ability to make contested catches, stretch defenses vertically, and inspire teammates through his work ethic makes him more than just a wideout. He is the offensive engine. The Commanders are betting that by surrounding him with emerging talent and better structure, they can finally translate flashes of potential into sustained competitiveness. If McLaurin maintains his production and leadership, the $96 million investment will not only look justified, it could be considered a bargain compared to soaring wide receiver salaries around the league in coming seasons. For the fans, this moment will be remembered as one of rare unity and joy. After years of disappointment, instability, and broken promises, the McLaurin extension stands out as a victory. It is a symbol of hope, a declaration that the franchise values its stars and is willing to invest in its future. Fans called into radio stations with excitement. Children wore McLaurin jerseys to school with pride, and even neutral observers acknowledged that Washington had taken an important step forward. The energy feels different, lighter, more optimistic. Instead of preparing themselves for yet another chapter of dysfunction, supporters are daring to dream. Could this finally be the turning point? Could McLaurin's loyalty and leadership inspire a culture shift that leads to playoff contention? The answers remain unknown, but the optimism is undeniable. For once, Commanders fans have a reason to smile and believe in the future again. The broader NFL world also took notice, with analysts praising the move as both smart and necessary. In a league where elite wide receivers often test free agency or forced trades, securing McLaurin sends a message of commitment. Washington avoided the circus of losing another cornerstone talent and instead demonstrated that they are building a foundation. This could have ripple effects for future free agents considering the Commanders, as stability and star power are crucial in attracting talent. For McLaurin, it's validation after years of quietly excelling in difficult circumstances. For Peters and Harris, it's a statement that their regime is serious about accountability and progress. And for Magic Johnson, it's a sign that his investment is being backed by the right decisions. Across the board, the deal resonates as more than just numbers. It represents intent, credibility, and the possibility of a brighter era in Washington football. Ultimately, the Terry McLaurin extension is bigger than one player's contract. It represents a shift in how the Commanders are perceived, both internally and externally. For a team that has long struggled to balance talent retention with organizational dysfunction, getting this deal done feels monumental. It reassures fans, empowers the locker room, and sets the tone for the future. Magic Johnson's enthusiasm captured the emotion perfectly: joy, relief, and hope. McLaurin will now step into the season not as a question mark, but as a cornerstone, fully supported by his team and city. If he continues producing at his current pace, this extension could be remembered not just as a good move, but as the foundation of a new era. Washington may not be a finished product yet, but locking down McLaurin ensures they're building on the right cornerstone. For the first time in years, optimism feels real in DC. If you're enjoying the coverage, make sure to smash that like button and drop a comment with your thoughts on the Commanders' latest moves. We want to hear from you. The Washington Commanders are once again at the center of controversy, and this time it's not just about missed plays or failed drafts. Rumors have been swirling around the team's locker room, and the latest storm comes straight from the mouth of defensive coordinator Dan Quinn, who reportedly unleashed a blistering tirade aimed at one of the team's key players. Sources close to the situation claim that Quinn, known for his fiery temper and uncompromising standards, told the unnamed player in no uncertain terms that he would never wear this jersey again. The statement, though not officially confirmed by the team, has sent shockwaves through the franchise, leaving fans, analysts, and insiders speculating about the identity of the player and the severity of the incident. The Commanders, already navigating a season full of turbulence, now face internal drama that could have long-lasting consequences both on and off the field, amplifying tensions within a locker room that has been under scrutiny for months. According to multiple insiders, the confrontation allegedly took place during a high-pressure practice session, a moment when emotions were already running high due to a string of disappointing performances in recent games. Sources suggest that Quinn's frustration reached a boiling point after what he considered a blatant mistake by the player, who had previously been considered a reliable contributor. The choice of words, "never wears this jersey again," has been interpreted as both a personal rebuke and a potential signal of an impending release or benching. While the team has not issued any official statement, the story has ignited an intense debate among fans and commentators alike, who are dissecting every possible implication. Social media has erupted with speculation, memes, and calls for clarification, as supporters and critics weigh in on whether this is a temporary flare-up or evidence of deeper structural issues within the Commanders' organization that could threaten team cohesion and morale for the remainder of the season. Observers familiar with Dan Quinn's coaching style note that he has never been one to mince words, but this level of public criticism reportedly surpasses anything previously seen in his career. Quinn's reputation as a disciplinarian has always been paired with moments of strategic brilliance. Yet this particular incident raises questions about his ability to manage high-profile talent under pressure. Rumors suggest that the unnamed player may have clashed with Quinn on multiple occasions before, and that the tirade was the culmination of months of underlying tension rather than a spontaneous outburst. If true, this adds a layer of complexity to an already fragile locker room dynamic, one in which players may feel both resentment and fear. Analysts are now speculating that the fallout could extend beyond the individual involved, potentially influencing trade considerations, lineup decisions, and even the public perception of the coaching staff's authority and approach to discipline, creating a ripple effect that could reach far into the team's future planning and fan engagement strategies. Some sources are hinting that the tension within the Commanders' locker room extends beyond this single confrontation, suggesting that the team's culture may be in a state of flux, with leadership struggling to maintain cohesion amid mounting pressure to win. Reports indicate that several players have privately expressed frustration with inconsistent coaching messages and high expectations that do not always align with on-field performance realities. In this context, Quinn's explosive remarks may serve as both a warning and a symptom of deeper organizational unrest. The media has been quick to amplify these stories, often speculating about internal conflicts without concrete evidence, which has only fueled the fire of fan discussions and betting speculation. If the Commanders' front office fails to address these concerns promptly, there is a real risk that morale could deteriorate further, potentially leading to public disputes, media leaks, and even departures that could weaken the team's competitiveness in the long term, adding another layer of drama to an already stormy season. Industry insiders suggest that the fallout from Quinn's comments could extend far beyond the locker room, affecting the team's relationship with fans, sponsors, and local media outlets. The statement, interpreted by some as humiliating and personal, has generated widespread chatter online, with fans and pundits debating whether such a public scolding is ever justified or effective in professional sports. This rumor-driven narrative has been amplified by social media influencers and sports analysts, who speculate not only about the identity of the player, but also about potential consequences such as benching, trade rumors, or even contract termination. The Commanders organization is now caught in a delicate balancing act, needing to assert authority and maintain discipline while avoiding a public relations crisis. If handled poorly, this situation could damage the team's reputation, erode trust between players and coaches, and shift the narrative from on-field performance to internal strife, forcing management to navigate one of the most sensitive challenges of the season. According to whispered reports in the sports journalism community, some players within the Commanders' locker room may be quietly taking sides, creating factions based on loyalty to either Quinn or the unnamed player. Such dynamics, if true, could destabilize the cohesion that is critical for team performance, particularly in a league where psychological resilience and unity often define success as much as raw athletic talent. Coaches and management have reportedly been monitoring locker room chatter closely, aware that leaks and rumors can spread like wildfire in today's hyper-connected sports environment. Analysts suggest that this incident may test Quinn's leadership philosophy, which emphasizes accountability and discipline, but also requires fostering trust and respect among players. Fans and commentators are already weighing in, offering theories about the player's identity and the severity of the supposed breach, creating a narrative that has transcended typical post-practice friction to become a story about power, authority, and the pressures of professional sports management in a highly scrutinized league. The ripple effects of this reported confrontation could also impact team strategy and game-day decision-making. Coaches are often forced to weigh the cost of maintaining disciplinary authority against the immediate need for on-field performance, and Quinn's reported ultimatum may force difficult choices in upcoming matchups. If the player in question is a starter or key contributor, benching or releasing him could disrupt established rotations, forcing other players to adapt quickly to new roles. Conversely, ignoring or downplaying the incident might undermine Quinn's authority, sending a signal to the locker room that accountability is negotiable. Sports analysts are already debating these hypothetical scenarios, considering how the team might adjust defensive schemes, leadership hierarchies, and player rotations to account for internal tensions. This rumor, whether fully accurate or exaggerated, has captured the imagination of fans, creating a compelling storyline that combines the drama of high-stakes competition with the intrigue of human conflict behind the scenes. Some observers speculate that this confrontation may reflect broader organizational challenges within the Commanders franchise, including the pressure to deliver results while managing personalities and egos in a hyper-competitive environment. The league itself, known for its intense media scrutiny and fan engagement, magnifies these internal conflicts, turning private disagreements into public spectacles. Rumors suggest that Quinn's approach may be part of a deliberate effort to set a tone of zero tolerance for mistakes, aiming to instill a culture of accountability and toughness, but the method and delivery have sparked debate among insiders and fans alike. If mishandled, such confrontations risk alienating players, fracturing team chemistry, and creating a negative narrative that overshadows athletic achievement. Meanwhile, analysts continue to speculate about the potential consequences for future drafts, trades, and coaching decisions, with the incident already generating headlines and discussion threads that keep the Commanders at the center of sports gossip for weeks on end. In addition to internal implications, the media frenzy surrounding Quinn's remarks has elevated fan engagement to unprecedented levels, with social platforms serving as battlegrounds for speculation, support, and outrage. Viral posts and trending hashtags suggest that the story has captured widespread attention, with some fans defending Quinn's right to discipline, while others criticize the public nature of the tirade and question its effectiveness. The dynamic has created an environment where rumor and conjecture fuel the narrative as much as confirmed reports, leaving the team vulnerable to reputational damage regardless of the factual accuracy of the initial claim. Marketing experts note that such incidents, while risky, also generate visibility and discussion around a franchise, highlighting the complex interplay between performance, personality, and public perception. As the story develops, the Commanders' front office may be forced to balance the need for internal resolution with external messaging that preserves credibility, trust, and fan loyalty in an environment where every word and gesture is dissected relentlessly by a hungry audience. Some sports analysts have taken this rumor as an opportunity to revisit Dan Quinn's coaching history, examining past incidents where his fiery temperament has both sparked success and created controversy. Comparisons are being drawn between previous teams he has led and the current situation with the Commanders, suggesting that Quinn's methods, while sometimes effective in producing disciplined units, often carry a risk of alienating key talent. Insiders note that the success of such a strategy hinges on the ability to communicate clearly and maintain player respect, which may be at stake if this reported confrontation escalates. The unnamed player's response, or lack thereof, is now being dissected as a potential indicator of future developments, such as trade requests, contract negotiations, or shifts in team loyalty. This rumor-driven narrative has captivated fans, analysts, and insiders alike, turning a single practice altercation into a storyline with league-wide implications, blending drama, strategy, and human emotion into a saga that could define the Commanders' season. Finally, as speculation continues to mount, the Washington Commanders are left navigating a precarious situation that could shape not only the remainder of the season but the public perception of the franchise for years to come. Every move, statement, and decision made in response to this rumor will be scrutinized, dissected, and interpreted by fans, media, and competitors alike. The stakes are high. Maintaining locker room unity, preserving coaching authority, and ensuring on-field performance are all critical objectives that now intersect with a narrative fueled by fiery words and uncertain outcomes. While some argue that such confrontations are a normal part of high-level sports, others see this as a cautionary tale about the limits of public rebukes and the fragility of team dynamics under pressure. Regardless of the truth behind the initial claims, the story has captured the imagination of the football world, leaving everyone eager for the next chapter in this evolving saga of discipline, drama, and potential fallout for the Washington Commanders and Dan Quinn, whose reputation now hangs in the balance alongside the unnamed player's career trajectory. Thanks for tuning into District Command Central. Make sure to subscribe and follow us for all the Commanders news you need. Until next time, keep the faith and hail to the Commanders.